Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Stroke. I am your host and stroke survivor, Jerry Wall. And for those of you that are new here, thank you for being here. And I started doing this show to bring awareness to stroke, TBI, aphasia, really brain injury, and also to provide a platform to bring survivors to share their journeys from across the world and literally across the world, and also bringing in experts in brain health um, to share their knowledge about their brains, which we can learn a lot more as it's so complicated. But also, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Let's Talk Stroke. I appreciate it. And also, this morning's guest is Tawnie, but we'll go by Tawnie the Neuro Mermaid. So we'll get all into that in just a little bit. So please welcome her and ask questions. Don't be shy, and we'll just have a great time. So here she comes.
Hello,
Good morning.
Jerry. Good
How
morning.
how are you?
So good. So grateful
Nice to see you.
to be
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I'm so glad that you're able to join us. You're a busy gal out there in the big world.
You are so
And
sweet. Well, it's also more the time, like it's only 8 a.m. here, and you know, I
yeah, I know. I that's what I appreciate you being here, early in the morning there in the West Coast, which I used to live there out there, and you know, yeah,
have my
but
coffee.
I love it. I love it. Got mine here, cup of cozy it says. But yeah,
It's
this strong coffee makes me a little jittery, but it's okay. I drink quite a bit. I know people out there probably can't be drinking all your drinking the coffee and all that. But anyway, thank you for being here. And if there's please ask questions to Tawnie, or if you have a question for me, hopefully we can answer. But let's just start for people. I'm sure they see you on social media all around, but
well, maybe they don't. So if you want me to
that
do a quick try
yeah, let's
and
go back. Yeah, let's go back in time, like rewind the clock, and like, who is Tawnie?
so I'm gonna give you a little bit of who was Tawnie and why she's now Tawnie the Neuro Mermaid, which
Yes.
some of you who have gone through this can relate. I say when people ask me like, "Are you back to normal?" I go, "Oh no, that Tawnie's dead. We're a new Tawnie. Like we're a new version. We're growing. We're evolving." But I was 28. I was working in special education, a migraine sufferer since I was 15 years old. It's going to come into play later. And I went to work like usual, came home. It was Cinco de Mayo. No, I was not drinking. I know some of you are thinking. I love seeing that Matthew said that. And I was in the shower, and if I wasn't in the shower, I would have thought someone hit me, like threw a rock at me or hit me with a baseball bat. It came on that fast. I grabbed myself in the shower because I'm tall enough that I could hold on. And I remember thinking, don't hit your head, like go down gently, like curve your back. So I was in the bathtub. Luckily, my brother was home from school. So I started yelling. I was still cognizant enough to make a joke. Like when he came in, I said, throw me my robe. I don't want you to be like scarred for life. Like, so I wasn't like some people, I just say that because some of us pass out as soon as it happens. Some of us,
Yes.
like I was talking and kind of, making jokes. So I understand why when I said, don't take me to the hospital, my family's like, she just has a normal migraine. So
No.
my brother helped me to the bed, but it was completely different. I'm so glad I'm seeing so many of you guys on that I threw up immediately. I've never thrown up from a migraine before. My brother having to help me walk. I look back now, I go, no amount of pain has made it that difficult for you to like get your feeding.
Yeah.
And so I actually went to bed that night, which is crazy. I know. The
Oh,
next day was when my parents were like, she's doing nothing but sleeping. Like maybe she has meningitis. Like her neck is so
yeah.
stiff, something's not right. So we, my dad was driving me to the emergency room, and I remember seeing the same truck like two times. And so I go, I'm seeing double. Like that's weird. So now when I go to the ER, I tell them, worst migraine of my life, threw up, my neck stiff. difficulty walking, light sensitive, seen double. So if you know anything, that's check. Let's scan her.
Yeah.
This gentleman saw a 28-year-old migraine sufferer, and he chose to inject me with nerve blockers and send me home.
Yeah.
So I went a week bleeding in my brain until my left eye crossed in. And that's when I went to the ER. They finally did a scan, said you have a subarachnoid hemorrhage, and we don't have a doctor here who can do the angiogram. So that's when I got life flighted to the Cleveland Clinic. And when they did my surgery, because I was bleeding that entire time, so a week, they were not able to put a stent in. So when I had my first brain surgery, it was technically half done. All I had was coils up there. So they kept telling me, your coils could slip, you need a fence up there blocking stuff in. Your brain's moving around, right?
Yeah.
So cut to 7 years later, I start noticing my equilibrium super off. Like I'm getting really dizzy when I get up and down, if I turn my head, and I'm like, and it's actually interesting. I was doing yoga every day and I was doing it live. And I started telling everyone, I can't do these things. I can't do that. And it was actually a lot of viewers were like, Tawnie, you're complaining about a lot more and you're having more migraines. So that jolted me to advocate more. And so I go, let's tell my doctor. And they said, it's an inner ear problem. Let's go to an inner ear specialist. So I told them, I'll go your route. And this is what I say to everyone with advocating. I go, I know my body, and the last time it was like this was after brain surgery. So something's wrong, something's up with my brain.
Right.
But I'll go your route. So I went an ear specialist. They did all the tests. My ears were fine. My hearing's fine. I'm like, can we just get this scan? But it was taking forever because I don't know if like your coil numbers.
Yeah, I don't know because I had those and
so long ago, right? So back in the day, because if you were a new survivor, you're like, oh yeah, they gave me some card. It's a very important number. Like they won't scan you without having like your serial number. Okay.
Right.
So, I mean, we're getting the point. I'm like, you guys just look up the last scans I've had, and it didn't pull the magnet, didn't pull it out of my brain. Just go with that one. I'll sign whatever, you want me to do. Just scan my brain. And they're just like, we can't do it without that number. We can't do it. My neurosurgeon had retired, the nurse is gone. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Someone asked, what is a coil? So, there's different ways that they can treat aneurysms and AVMs. And some of them are a clip or a coil. And so with a coil, how he described it was a twig and like a berry. I was trying to look for like a
yeah, I wish
I'm like, oh wait, I do have one. All right, guys, we're doing a little a little art project here. Okay. Because it helped me so much. So your twig, that's your vein, and here's the aneurysm. That's the berry. Okay. And this ruptured. So blood's cut all out. So what they do is they can either come in and they put a metal clip right here, clip that little berry off. Don't worry about blood flow going off to it. Well, my neck was too big and too exploded. Couldn't do that. So what they do instead is they fill these little wires. He kind of explained it like a Brillo pad kind of coil, but they're platinum coils. And they put it through and then they fill this all up. So my neurosurgeon goes, I'm a glorified plumber. And he's like, we just filled your little berry. Now, usually, because see how this is still open and there's blood just moving in there, what they do is they put this thing called a stent, a flow diverting stent. So see how this is like a little fence protecting those coils from going up here and causing blood clots or causing issues. It's a little stent to keep that in there. I did not have the stent. So for 7 years, and that's why whenever I had migraines, also why I had so much anxiety, because whenever my head was hurting, I'm in the constant, is a coil slipping? Is that happening? Now, guess what? I did live through that. It happened, but because I was so aware of my body and advocating, we caught it. They were like, yes, your coils are moving, and it looks like your aneurysm. Well, they said you have another aneurysm right by the original. And I was like, it kind of sounds like to me with cancer where like you just didn't get all of it. Like it's not a new one. So I just kept saying, I'm going to think of it as not my body's growing more, but just that it got bigger. Which later I did have a neurosurgeon when he, in a couple months ago, I had my CT angiogram. And from that, that's what he said. He goes, it looks like it just kept getting blood flow and got bigger. So they refilled it with coils, put a flow diverting stent. And that was June 12th, 2023 was when I had my second brain surgery, coiling and flow diverting stent.
Wow. I feel like it was just yesterday that you had the second one. It's wow, 2023. Wow.
I know. That's why I'm like, I feel like I almost just had it, but I'm like, that's about to be
Wow.
2. I see the, oh no, another one. And I know when I say that, it can, you're like, I have to now worry about other ones. Yes. But the best thing is because we've gone through it once, like the doctor kept telling me, he's like, nothing is ever going to be as bad as that first time. Because that was an emergency. We came in to a mess. So like, that's why if you have seen the picture of me in the mermaid tail in the hospital, that's why I did that. Because I go, I have to do it to show myself that if you have to keep having these surgeries, it's okay. You spent one night in the hospital. Now, when I put that tail on, was it the best idea when they went through my groin? Did it hurt? Yeah. Did I feel it for a couple days? Oh, yeah. Was it worth it? I'll do it again. I will do it again. Like, every time I look at that picture, those videos, I'm like, just keep swimming.
And you climbed down wow. If anybody hasn't seen that.
Oh, so let's say that. So then cut to, so in June, I have the brain surgery. In September, we have a big walk for the Aneurysm AVM Foundation. And Dina, the director, goes, Tawnie, we're rappelling off of a building. And I want you to do it in your mermaid tail. Guys, June, July, August, September, three months prior, I'm like, are you out of your mind? Like, what are you thinking? And then she goes, no, we're doing it totally safe. They help people rappel who are in wheelchairs, like as long they can move you down. Because I told her I was not afraid physically I was afraid that my anxiety, when I have a panic attack, I freeze, like I can't move. And so I told them, I go, what happens if I'm on the edge of this building and I just panic? And I go, and I can't do the levers and you're telling me things and I'm just like deer in a headlights. Like, what do you do then? And she goes, we lower you down. We have it all. So I felt extremely safe. It was really I look back at that moment so many times when I feel not confident, not strong. I'm like, you can do anything when you put your mind to it. Like, you just need to ask for help. Maybe you need support. You need someone, like if Joe, another stroke survivor, was not there with me to talk with me, like I don't know if I would have gone through that.
No, I know that's I see that video, just amazing. I mean, that's a panic attack.
And then it was just such a beautiful moment because, well, for so many different reasons, but I have my brain scan on my tail, on my mermaid tail, for those of you guys who don't know. So this is my actual aneurysm. Like, that's one that ruptured. It's just superimposed on both sides. So now that you see. And I told people I want to put my brain scan on a tail so that I can like raise awareness and turn this horrible thing into something beautiful. Because people be like, oh, that's a unique tail. And then I tell them that and they're like, whoa, that's wild. So to be able to rappel in that, and literally like in Union Square of San Francisco, and they, like, when I got down, you know, people were in trolleys and like, oh my God, did you see the mermaid? And then sometimes people would walk by and they're like, thinking it's a gimmick, like I'm some pay. They're like, so I don't get it. What's the mermaid thing? And then aneurysms. And I'm like, I'm actually a 2-time aneurysm
Right.
survivor. Like I just had brain surgery in June. And I'm like, and I'm here because if you can catch it before it ruptures, like I went through one that ruptured and I went through one that didn't. I'm going to tell you right now, one night in the hospital is way better than the
Yeah.
other
Oh,
one.
I totally
So,
understand. It's kind of crazy that what we go through, for me, I mean, in the beginning of, they're showering you, they're doing everything. You're helpless. At first I was very like, oh, please. But then, whatever, at that point, at least for me. But, uh,
well, when you're dealing with so many things, you start to just be like, oh my gosh, if I can just get help with anything,
yeah,
like I will
right,
take it.
right, exactly, exactly. Michelle, nice to see you.
Oh, wow.
So you had two. Well, okay. Third, wow.
After the second one done, it was rerouted itself. Okay. So yes, thank you for raising this. There's a couple people who, and that's why I'm like, if you can catch it early, and that's what's so amazing now with the coils and the clips, well, the coils so that they can do it endovascular, so through your wrist or your
Yeah,
groin instead of having to do a craniotomy. So I'm so grateful you've been able to catch all of them, and just also so sorry that you've had to have those many battles. Like,
yeah. It's
you know,
tough. I totally understand that. That's wow. But now, like, look what you're doing now. You're really raising awareness, and it's so important to do that. Because did you know what a stroke or any of this kind of stuff before?
no,
Yeah,
no, not at all. Jerry, another stroke survivor is one who told me I had a stroke. I'm like, no, I had a ruptured brain aneurysm. He goes, yeah, Tawnie, that's a hemorrhagic stroke. I'm like, no, it's not. Nobody ever
yeah,
told me that. I had to get my medical copies out and look at it. I'm like, it says it right there. I'm like, and then sadly, because strokes are more talked about than aneurysms, as soon as I started saying I had a hemorrhagic stroke, people then understood it a little bit
right.
better. Like the depth of,
Yeah,
wow.
is right. Do people ever tell you? Yeah, she was. Do people ever ask you or say, "You don't look like you had a stroke or aneurysm," or
I
yeah,
It's the one phrase I would just love to erase for everything. When someone says, you don't look sick, like, stop judging a book by its cover. Stop telling people you don't look. It's a weird thing to say. Like, you don't say that when someone's like, like, actually, we do. You don't look like a vegan. You don't look like a blah, blah,
yeah,
blah. You don't look like
yeah,
yeah, that. And I get a lot of times, oh, well, yours must have not been bad. What? Or they caught yours right away. I go, oh no, they actually missed me. I go, it's a miracle. My own neurosurgeon said, I don't say this, but the fact that you're walking and talking is a miracle. It does not make any
yeah,
sense. Because I mean, guys, I was using a neck massager. So I'm massaging blood up and down. How am I
yeah.
like he's like everything that I was doing, he's like,
Is the
oh my
wrong
God, that's
thing?
so bad. Oh God, that's so
Wow.
bad. The whole week while I was in pain, I'm trying
Yeah.
anything I could try to feel better, you
Did
know.
you take? Because I know I had the same hemorrhagic stroke, and it's a blood.
Yeah.
You can't take aspirin because of the blood, because of a blood. It's a blood thinner. Did you take aspirin or like Tylenol or anything? Because you know,
Oh, yeah. I was doing a rotation every 4 hours. I'm like, that pain pill's not working. Let's
yeah,
try something else. Oh, do I have an old prescription for a Vicodin? Let's
yeah,
try that. Like I was literally throwing
yeah,
everything at it, my migraine medicine. This is terrible, you guys. And now looking back, I I did call my neurosurgeon. He heard I went to the ER, so he prescribed me steroids and said, "Call me in a week if you still have a migraine." I called my regular primary doctor. I was just like, "Why am I going to go to an ER again when they didn't even scan me?" Like I literally kept saying that
right.
phrase, and now I'm like, because some doctors just miss things. So if you are feeling a certain way, like I felt like I was dying. Like every day I woke up, I was like, something is not right. And I'm like, but they didn't do anything because I was 28. And
Yeah, 28 years old. Yeah. Wow.
so,
So
but like she said, 25, Michelle was 25 when hers
yeah,
was.
exactly. And I saw one here. I think Kevin Loftus. He asked about. He went to. He had life flighted too, and he said they charged him because he couldn't afford it, like 70 or something $1,000, and you know, I mean, I've had a lot of people like, I can't pay it. You're out of luck. You ain't gonna get that dime.
It was so fun arguing with them about that because they said, I actually drove away from the hospital that was closer to me to your hospital that was covered by insurance. Your insurance hospital did not have someone who could do my
Oh,
surgery. So they life flighted me to the Cleveland Clinic and they were trying to tell me that I didn't need that life flight. Now, mind you, in the ER, I did. When the woman told me we're going to take you in an ambulance, I said, no, I don't want to pay for that. My dad's just going to take me. And she said, no, I don't think you understand what's happening right now. Like you have a subarachnoid, like you're bleeding your brain. You're not leaving here any other way but an emergency thing. So when they came in the helicopter, like when my dad's going like this, I thought he was saying, get it up, round the wagons, let's grab your stuff, let's go. And he's saying, no, helicopter. Wow. I'm like,
crazy, unbelievable. Wow. So what did your family think when they saw all that? I mean, because just wondering.
It was well, my mom feels extremely guilty because she was out of town.
Oh.
It was Mother's Day weekend. She was with her mom. So she feels really bad still. And I wish I could take that back because I'm like, I told her I really think it happened that way because I love her, but she stresses me out. And if she was in the emergency room when they said that versus my dad, who we were making jokes, he was making light of it. Whereas I love my mom, but she would have immediately panicked and her panic would have made me panic. And then Lord knows what would have happened. Wow. So, I'm very grateful my dad was with me, my family. I mean, it worked out because my brother was supposed to be away for college, but he came back. I don't remember why. And so it just, worked out that they were there.
How long were you in the hospital the first time? Was that
I wasn't there the full 2 weeks because they said, they're like, you actually did the most dangerous hard part at home by yourself. Wow. So we only have so I went from the neuro ICU for 1 day and then I was in the step down ICU for a week. No. If it was 11 days, it was basically, I was only in a normal room for 1 day. So I was in the ICU and that I was like, are you sure that's okay? I'm in ICU critical checking on me all the time to one night in a regular room. And then you're like, get out of here.
Yeah, no kidding.
My mom, I remember her because my eye was still crossed in and she's like, is she okay to leave like that? Because I'm like,
yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, Mom.
Yeah.
Go to physical therapy for it.
Wow. But they're all, what are you doing now? I mean, do you still do any kind of therapy or besides, I don't know if you do any of that or some kind of.
I do a lot of home stuff. I don't know who else can relate to the fact that, I did neurofeedback. It was great, but my insurance didn't cover it. It was expensive. It was very interesting. Even after the first brain surgery, I asked, I said, are you sure I don't need OT or PT? I mean, OT or speech, because they only gave me PT for my eye. And I was like, they go, you don't need speech. And I'm like, I do. I know I talk really fast, you guys, but actually a part of aphasia sometimes, if you notice, sometimes I just ramble. You're like,
what is she saying? I know the feeling, trust me,
And in the beginning, it was I would mix things up, the longest. I don't know why family members, I couldn't remember uncle. I'd be like, that dude that's, you're in your life and that person.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But they didn't offer that. So I don't, but I really try and do, meditation. Yoga was really good. I was doing cold showers there for a while.
Yeah, I know. Do you still do that? Because I wish I could do it. I can't. I mean, there's no way. I don't know.
Well, I've heard some people with the nerve endings that they said the cold just triggers so much pain that it's not even worth it. It was really, really helpful with my anxiety. Wow. It helped me learn how to better breathe through. So I am better with my panic attacks. I feel like it gave me skills. I don't like once in a while I'll jump in our pool that's not heated and freeze my butt off, or like in the lake, I jumped in and everybody else was shaking and freezing. And like, even though I hadn't done a cold shower in a long time, I was able to like get my breath
Right.
under and like be fine. And everybody was like, that's
Yeah.
freaking weird. I was like, it's a skill. You learn how to like breathe through, you
Yeah.
know, extreme body
Yeah.
changes. But I don't do them anymore because I've really been trying to work on healing my nervous system. I feel like I was in fight or flight for so
Yeah.
many years that I go, I want to learn how to regulate my system without having to do like an extreme cold shock. So I ground, I walk, I even, did you guys know that humming actually can, because it stimulates your vagus nerve? And right now, hum and try to think a different thing. You cannot think a different thought than what you're humming. Like right now, try to hum a song and think something else. You can't.
Yeah, I mean,
You can't do it. So it's like a really cool hack. So
that's a,
sometimes when I start to freak out, if someone's like, tell me something like, and they're like,
wow. Wow. Interesting. I'll have to try that more, like when I'm not live. Just, but yeah,
yeah,
no, yeah, because I've had people on and before we start, they want to do their breathing techniques or something just to kind of calm us down. And but it works, this stuff, and but the humming, I never thought of that. That's kind of cool.
that's
Yeah,
cool. I'm into anything free and easy that I can do that is
right.
accessible. I'm like,
Wow.
yes.
Wow. Can you
So
drive?
I luckily
Good.
can. I only was told not to drive while my eye was crossed
Right.
in, and I was like, don't worry, I'm not going to try. But they never legally paused my license or anything like that. I did, because I've been asked this before, my physical therapist did have to write a note that went to my neurologist, and my neurologist, like, then did some tests to make sure, like, I
Yeah.
really was
Yeah.
okay. But I never handed anything over to my DMV. Like, I don't have anything on my license regarding
Yeah.
that, because I know some people say once your license gets taken away, how hard it is to get yours back. Mine was basically just kind of like, they were like, please don't do that.
Wow. Yeah. No one, I didn't have to do anything. Not because I know they take away your license. Some people, not me, but yeah.
Oh, look at blowing bubbles and fluid and humming at the same time help relax the throat muscles. Yeah. But like even just humming, it stimulates your vagus nerve.
Wow.
So like you don't even blowing the bubbles too, but with the kids, that's how we would help them breathe, as I'd say, you know, like pretend you're blowing out
Right.
a candle or a bubble
Interesting.
and smell the flowers.
Wow. Okay. That's such a awesome thing that you did. I know, Robin. I see her. Tawnie, can you hum a note?
Hum a note. Oh my gosh, no. Mine is I go to just Bob Marley, Don't Worry.
Oh, yeah, I love it. Oh, yeah, I do. I forgot, but
Oh, we were talking about
yeah.
driving. Oh, and then mentioned working with the
Oh,
kids because you were like,
that is such a blessing. I still to this day want to. I go to some of the little kids where some of my grandkids, and there's some kids that are kind of, and what you were doing before. That's a great thing with the kids.
it's I don't know, like want to cry.
Rewarding.
I miss it. I miss being called Miss Tawnie a
Yeah.
lot. It was really like, I mean, I was applying. I have my bachelor's in psychology. I was working on my master's. I was applying for my master's in speech
Wow.
pathology. Because I loved when I worked. I was like, my favorite thing is getting a nonverbal kid, teaching them sign language, watching them sign, and then watching their hand, like them start speaking. Like to
Yeah.
give someone the ability to interact with the world and tell the world how they feel is like the most beautiful gift. So it was really hard. And that's why I know it seems very silly, the mermaid thing, but like my college counselor was like, I don't think you can do this. And I don't know why, whenever I got told that in any other part of my recovery, like they told me, you're never going to walk both your dogs again. And I'm like, oh,
Wow.
watch me. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I will. But for some reason with the school, when she told me that, I was like, maybe I am too messed up. I can't do this. And so I stopped doing that. I kept teaching for a
Oh, good.
while, but it was extremely hard because in special education, you do a lot of testing. You keep learning, you keep doing things. And before, when I say like I was really
Yeah.
good, I would get 98s on the test. Like I was flying through it. It made sense. And after the stroke, my tests were D's. Sometimes I was having a retake. And they were like, you just had brain surgery. Like, give your brain a break, maybe. Let's be kind. But it just became every day I was comparing how it used to be. And when I say I cried every single day, I cried every day, being like, I used to be like this. I used to be able to do this. And everyone in my family after about 2.5 years was like, Tawnie, I think you need to find a different path because like
Yeah.
you are just, it's hurt like as much as, and everybody around me, all the other teachers said I did great, but I just felt it was
Yeah,
hard.
you're just beating yourself up, probably. They were saying,
Yeah.
Serena,
Serena.
great.
Oh, great to teach kids how to breathe early. Yes. I'm loving, it was, honestly, I know things happen for a reason. The room that I got moved to, because after my brain surgery, I used to work one-on-one with a kid who had a lot of behaviors, and we were in the high behavior room. So immediately they're like, we can't have you in there. They had talk of putting me in a helmet, and I was like, guys, I'm not going to go around the school in a helmet. Number one, it's going to make the kids want to hit me in the head.
Yeah.
And you're not putting me in a helmet unless you're putting everybody in a helmet, because no one
Yeah.
should get hit in the head. You
Oh,
know what I mean? Like, we're not at more of a risk than like nobody needs to get a
yeah.
noggin. So we actually started with the kids doing yoga, and it was incredible to watch pre-K, kindergarten kids with special needs, and everybody's like, you're never going to get all of them. And I could tell you by the end of the class, cutest thing, watching them all sit Indian style going,
Really nice.
and doing a little breath
Yeah.
work. Yeah, it was
That's freaking awesome.
amazing. Okay, Steven says, I can drive. Wife's still worried. I totally get it. My husband still, when I do drive, it's like once I feel like a kid, once I get there, got here safe, cars parked, like got to go through the checklist, put money in the meter because I am
Yeah.
forgetful. I do, so it's more of like in the beginning, it kind of frustrated me a lot. And now I'm just like, whatever, it's better to have things checked because sometimes people go, you didn't do that. And I go back and I'm like, I sent you a picture. I did. You're the one who left the house unlocked. It wasn't
Yeah. Yeah.
me.
Oh yeah, I know. I know that driving. Have you ever had seizures?
So I only had a seizure when it ruptured. And I still to this day don't know how I convinced myself that I was just wincing in pain. I'm like, you're just at the bottom of the bathtub. Like, it just
Yeah.
hurts. And I'm like, no, you were having little seizures when it first ruptured. But I luckily did not have seizures after. I was, however, on anti-seizure meds. I was on Keppra for a while. Is that what you are on?
Yeah, yeah, but I watch you because I know California's a lot. I mean, it's, no big deal to spark up
Yeah.
some little ganja, not a big deal. And I have people, oh, you could get off that. I had my epilepsy doctor. He said, well, what I'm gonna do, you're gonna spend the weekend with us, and we'll take all your meds, you cold turkey, take them off. I know I'm a wuss probably. I never showed up to the appointment. Never called him, said, see you later. I'm not going because I don't want to be, he goes, we want to see how many seizures you're going to have. Oh, that's not going to.
Yeah.
So maybe I should have went. I don't know.
So again, I am not your
Go
medical
on.
doctor. You should always consult your doctor. You should always check. I just like to preface that so no one gets like misconstrued where I'm like, I did not like how Keppra was making me feel. Okay. When I'm gonna post this later this week because I finally found a picture because I think I just didn't want to document. But I used to have big red patches and sores around my mouth because my mouth was literally telling me whatever you're putting in her is poisoning her. Like in my legs, the back of my legs were like swelling, sore, like leg cramps.
Wow.
Weird. When I looked up,
Yeah.
side effects, those were
Wow.
them. So I advocated that I wanted to be off it. I said, like your doctor, I go, why don't we just baseline? I went every pill you want to put me on, and then the pill to cover the side effect of that. I was on a slew
Really?
of them. Okay. I went that route. And then when my body just started like overreacting. I was like, why don't we see my baseline? Like, take me off as many of these things as we can. And she was like, no, it could be very dangerous. You could have more seizures. And I was like, could, but I would rather
No, that's
I got
good.
a weird
Yeah.
thing over here, notification. But I did. Now you need to do it under supervision because you can have them. I looked it up and I tapered myself off
Good.
slowly. So I tapered myself down. So when she did say, we're not going to do that, you could have a seizure, I was like, well, I'm already at 0.5. So I've tapered myself down. And she's like, oh, you could have had a seizure. I'm like, I know, but that is how I was. I don't suggest that to other people. I think you need to advocate and tell your doctor, let's do this together safely. But I know it's really hard to have them want to take you off of that because
Yeah.
you know, once you're on it, they're like, why even risk it? And I know to some people, like, I get what you were like, why would I want to see what could happen? Right. I didn't like how I felt. And I am so grateful that now all I take is one aspirin because I do have the stent in there. I was on Plavix. I was on blood thinners for prior and 6 months after, but I've been off that now. And I mean, even my migraine medicine, I don't really like taking. I would rather have my plant-based medicine. And I told this to neurosurgeons and my neurologist. I go, as someone who has had her brain blow up, she's lived through it, and I've caught it where it didn't. I don't want to numb myself completely from the pain. For me, plant-based medicine is like a warm blanket. It does not take away the pain, but it dulls it. And instead of me feeling like a gaping wound, I feel like it's covered. So that's why I advocate for plant-based medicine and decided back in 2020 to be open about it. Because I knew how much it helped me. And if you doctors, all of my doctors know. And they were like, he did say, he goes, Tawnie, I would prefer because smoking anything is not great for you. So he was like, I would prefer maybe more the edible route or you try other means. So, but he's like, there's not enough science out there really, but there is a lot with seizures and migraines and it clearly works for you and you're not, you know, like, so if my neuros for me is okay with it, that's what I tell people when they're like, I don't think you should do it anymore. I go, guys, I'm off a lot of bad stuff, so I think this is a lot better option.
Yeah, and you feel better.
Yeah, I do. And I mean, like I said, when it hurts really bad, I don't want to. My migraine medicine just makes me go to sleep. Well, if I'm asleep, I'm not aware of if it gets worse or not. So
right. Do you get neuro fatigue?
Oh God, yeah.
Still?
And still, I would love to tell you guys, and maybe for some people, but like even Joe, when we did that event together, by the end of it, I don't talk that much. And like my husband can tell, he goes, I think you're mad because you're just so quiet and stoic. And I'm like, because I'm just so burnt out.
Yeah.
So I've learned I just take a lot of breaks. I know it, and also on social media, you only see glimpses of someone day. So it really is. I walk the dogs, and then you know what I do? I come home and I lay in my bed, and I'm on my phone messaging people. But like I have to, if I do something, I have to take a break.
Right.
Even unload the dishwasher. I do a load of dishes. Guess where my butt's back on the couch.
Wow, I didn't realize that you get that so much.
Yeah, I mean, have you found? And I know this when I go home with my mom is we'll get up in the morning and she'll go, I just need to run one errand. And we'll go there. And then while we're out, she's like, I need to go to another place. And so then I can do that. But since I got no break, when I come home, I need a nap. Or like my battery is done at 4 or 5. So, and someone asked for me, so indica couch, I love mostly indicas also because they're better with pain. But if you want to look more at the terpenes, how those interact with you. So I've been more on an educational journey with that, just like with everything, you know, just with your medicine, you have to find your right dosage, your right everything that works for your body and your endocannabinoid system.
Yeah, it's funny because the neuro fatigue that I get, maybe I need to sleep it off or something. But there's times I need to just lay down and like with 5 minutes, I'm good to go. I don't know if
Right?
you know?
They are. I call them brain breaks. So sometimes it's not even like I take a nap. I literally just have to not. And it can't be, I know if you're like, oh, we'll just go watch TV. It's like, I need just silence. Like if I can
Yeah,
go just sit for 5 minutes and then my brain will be okay. And I've even
right.
found like, I call them like a brain headache. And mom's like, they're all like in your brain. But I'm like, it's like when I do too much, my brain does this, like, it's like, hey, we're doing too much, and like
Yeah,
feels fuzzy and like crampy. And if I can just chill out for a little bit, it's like I can pause it. I'm like,
right, right.
okay.
But people can, let's see here, people can find you. What I put, I know here, right here. I
Yeah.
mean, they find you there, right? I mean, on
Yes.
all
Tawnie the
social
Neuro
media.
Mermaid.
Hopefully, I did it right.
Yeah. Tawnie the Neuro Mermaid on
Well,
all the platforms. I even have TawnieTheNeuroMermaid.com. I took that so that I could start putting resources there. And from there you can find always email me, phone call. I know you're like, you're crazy, you have your phone on the internet. I do, because I know what it feels like to be a survivor and feel absolutely alone. And if you can just shoot out a message to me, I
oh
will tell
yeah,
you, if you call me, I don't answer any numbers that I don't know, so you better leave a message.
yeah. I totally understand this. Social media. My wife, it's she goes, my phone's in my bed all when go to bed. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like, take a break. I would love to take a break. I can't.
it
I mean,
it
that's just me.
is. It is. No, and you're just like, I guess it's so helpful. It heals you and it heals other people. And so you get this like, well, how could I not respond to this? How can I not do that? Like when me just spending a couple minutes can be the change, because I just know how isolating it felt. And I think with our diagnosis, because the doctors are like, you're so rare, you're so different, and we all really truly are, but
Right.
we have commonalities and we can talk about just dealing with this stuff together.
Yeah.
And so I really wish I would have reached out sooner, but the doctors just made it feel like I was like, nobody else is gonna. I only use Facebook probably on it too much. I will suggest though, something that I have been doing, if you notice, there's certain times at night where it's like you cannot reach me. I'm not looking at my phone, I'm not talking. And on
Yeah.
Sundays or Saturdays, I really try and have like a chunk of the day where I'm completely unplugged, because
That's
it's
good. That's
wonderful
good.
to be
Right.
connected, but it's also important to
Yeah.
people.
I went to this thing the other day, and your phone's it was a paperless job thing, and I went there, no phones the whole day. I mean, have you ever done without the phone?
You realize how addicted you are to it. You like go to grab it for things. I
Yeah,
noticed that's why when we watch a show, I was noticing that even though I was engaged in the show, I was
yeah,
grabbing my phone to do something, and I'm like, okay, we are dopamine, you're dopamine and dopamine, like knock it off, put the phone
yeah,
down. And I've noticed how many times in one show, I challenge you, see how many times you like randomly pick up your phone to just look at something or take a picture of the cat. It's usually something
yeah.
like,
Well,
oh,
yeah.
look at you, so cute again.
Well, and my phone's on silent the entire time, just because so many I get calls and calls and calls and ding, ding. I mean, my phone is, but I keep it on silent. And
Same.
there's times I won't look at it, but it's, I don't know. It's just
All notifications are turned off.
all the
Yeah,
time.
that's what my friends like. You're like, call me whenever you want, but my notifications are all turned
Yeah,
off and down. I'm like, because I'm a true believer. Like, so sometimes you can call me and people are like, your phone is in your hand. I'm like, yep, I answered it right away. And other times I'm like, I don't have the bandwidth for that right now. So like, I've learned to get out. I think a lot of it was a lot of survivor's guilt, and like I was a lot of fear that I wasn't gonna be here. Like, what if, I don't get to that message and I don't
yeah,
respond to things? But I told everyone now after the second brain surgery, I was like, I'm gonna be here for a long time. So like maybe we don't talk today, but we'll talk tomorrow.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
whereas before I used to burn myself out. Did you
Oh
do
yeah,
that in the
all the time.
beginning? Like it
But
was
the
like
thing for me,
my family had
I
to
was I was having seizures all the time, so that's why my phone's with me all the time, and so that's so ever since then, yeah, I know right there. Or
I call it my young person life alert. I say my young person life alert because the Apple Watch has the SOS and like it's waterproof.
yeah, and
So
if you
like
fall, this thing will. I mean, it's pretty amazing. But yeah, it's that's really the reason that I have, not the reason, but it's one of the reasons, because I used to have seizures a lot. Still have them once in a while, but that's why I keep the phone, because my wife used to work like an hour and a half away. And if I'm having a seizure, she works at a house now. But if I have a seizure, um, and I call and I can't talk, she knew exactly I gotta go. She knew it. So,
yeah.
but so everything. But in the beginning, did you? Because for me, I'm just experienced. I didn't know. I thought I was the only one that had a stroke because I really didn't know what it was. I thought, is anybody else out there? And then I started seeing, my gosh, there's all these groups out there that are stroke survivors, or AVMs or whatever, brain injury survivors. And
Yeah.
so I got to talking, and now look, I mean, it's really good. I'm advocating, you're advocating to, you know, so important to do that.
So grateful that there's so much more out there. Yeah, no, when I first, there was not any of this. And like, there was definitely, well, I wasn't looking stroke. I just looked at brain aneurysm and there's still not tons out there for it. And I definitely, the doctors just kept, I mean, they flat out would call me the young one. Like I would hear the nurses out there like, did you check on the young one yet? And I'm like, okay, I know I'm a freak. And like, seriously, they would come in with like, all like, is it okay that we have the teaching? I'm like, yeah, bring them all in. I know I'm a science experiment, like go in. So no, I did not um, see that. And also in the groups, I know it might be shocking, but I was not talking. I was just reading what other people were posting and being like, okay, so it isn't crazy. Like that is okay. The sleep thing. Oh my gosh. So you still have like your face kind of go numb. Like it's not, so I didn't, I wasn't sharing in the groups though, but always on my page, like you can go back, and as soon as I came out from like brain surgery, and I was like, no one else will get misdiagnosed. So I was saying brain aneurysms, if you have the worst migraine of your life, go get
Yeah,
checked. So I was advocating like as soon as I came out, but I was not connecting with survivors because I was totally just, you're too young. My eye crossed in, it didn't cross out like
yeah,
everybody else. Like I have nothing in common. So
yeah,
how can we help each other? And that's so true. That's so wrong. Like that's so the polar opposite. Like the more you're like, no one can help me, I promise you there's someone in this community that
yeah,
can say something that you didn't have the words to say. Because every time I talk to a survivor, somebody says something that either I'm like, oh my God, thank you for freaking
yeah,
finally explaining what I've been
yeah,
trying to get out there.
yeah, absolutely. Wow. Yeah, I mean, so many people have been on that, 15, Ella Sophia.
Yeah.
And I mean, 15 years old, she had two strokes at, a freshman in high school. And I mean, she's older now. So, but yeah, I mean, there's so many things that we have in common. And that's why I love talking to people that have, I don't wish it to anybody, but
No.
we have things in, trying to figure what I was gonna say. Figure we're yeah, we're a lot of things, we all know what we're going through, and it's,
Yes.
so
Joe said it once the best way. He goes, it is not a club that like the membership fees are high,
oh,
okay? Because you have to have a stroke, so they have to have having
that's
to get
good.
here. But basically, most the members here, they're all pretty
Uh,
awesome. Like almost everyone I've met, it's like I feel like when you go through that level of pain and darkness, most people when they come out, you want to connect, you want someone else to not have to have it as hard as you did. So I feel like most of us survivors, even if I know some of you right now, like there's quiet people like, well, I don't share anything. You just watching and you just hearting things, you have no idea what kind of support
it
that
is.
does. So it's okay that you don't want to share. And I also know for work reasons, I'm sure, do you get a lot of people like, I wish I could be as open as you
Yeah.
are?
Oh,
Or I am worried I'll get repercut. And I go, I didn't think about it then. I was just like, because, and luckily the school that I worked at, no one had a problem, but that's why now I like working, for myself, being a content creator, working with different brands, because I don't have to hide that part
not
of
at
me.
all. Not at
Because,
all. Yeah,
yeah,
I was embarrassed when I first had mine. I know, I don't know if anybody else was, but I was embarrassed thinking, I went to the support groups they had, and I'm behind it, hiding behind people so they don't call on me. First of all, I couldn't talk real well, and so, but now I go to these places and I'm speaking, which I love to do that now. Let them know that you're not alone. Things do get better. I can't promise it, but it does get better. I thought I was going to be, like the guy told me. I had a OT tell me once, she's in a wheelchair and she was an occupational therapist, and she said, Jerry, get used to this. This is how you, and this is like a year and a half after. This is how you're going to be the rest of your life. I'm like, shit, this is it?
But did that kick you into gear? You're like, no, this is not it. I'm actually going to change it.
That's how I went back to see her. And she retired, so I never saw her. So I just want to show her, look, I'm walking, I'm limping around, but I'm still doing it.
But that's so important that you go back and share that, because I know, I mean, I stuttered over my words. I still stumble. It's just I've learned how to roll with it. So most of you guys are like, oh, she's just so ditzy and silly and fun. But like in the beginning, when I would talk and stumble over my words, tears would just stream down my face. And then I would get embarrassed because I used to, guys, I asked my doctor, can you fix this emotion thing? Because I'm crying too much and it's embarrassing. And he was like, maybe you kind of lived through something that should have killed you.
Yeah. I still do that, the crying thing,
You saw her. I was like, how many times am I going to cry on this? Like the tears would hold up. So
yeah, it's all good. I mean,
tears, sad tears.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Thank you for having these comments, you guys. I appreciate it. So what do you tell somebody that's going, they're like, I don't want to say newbies, but then even people that are, they feeling lost or, I'm depressed, I went through that. I went through all that stuff.
Oh yeah. This phrase has stuck with me. Positive emotion takes work. Negative emotion works you. But it's like, cause everyone's like, I'm like, I'm not always positive. I've had to work at that. Like it's when I found out about the second brain surgery, I was like, seriously, I got to do this again. Like what? But then I turned it to be like, now I get to do things differently. I get to raise awareness and I get to be a part of this. Whereas before it just happened to me and it was like dealing with it. Whereas now, I got to talk with a doctor, and I know you don't get to really tell. Like I was like, well, can we discuss? He's like, I'm not going to wake you up from the angiogram and talk about this. Like, I'm going to check you and then this is what we're going to do. And I was like, well, I'm letting you know, if you can't fix it with coils, you're clipping me, because I don't want to deal with this again. And so he was like, okay. So I would just say to know that working on those things, but also that sometimes it's that you just need to go take a nap and go look at that. We did get a second chance, and it can feel, trust me, when they diagnosed me with depression, I go, Mom, my boyfriend broke up with me. My job moved me to another room. I got told at school I can't work on my master's. My life is over. Who's going to want to date me? And that is how I felt at one point. And I would cry myself to sleep. And then I found a way through it because I found the new me. And that's why the mermaiding was magical and colorful and helped me with my confidence. There were a lot of times I used to be the social butterfly, and then right after the stroke, because of the stuttering, all the things, and I stopped going to things because you don't know if you'll have the energy. What if I get a migraine? I'm nervous. What if, so many things that I would cancel. And I just look back and I'm like, I wish I could go to that girl and be like, it's okay. It's okay to have this phase right now. It's okay to stay home and just watch your movies and do different things. And the friendships that leave you is the trash taking itself out, because you will find really good connections and people that are more than just friends. They're like family. To see Jerry's growth, even though I don't talk to him all the time, and I see it, it's just so cool to watch your healing journey and so many survivors.
Yeah, it's in the beginning, I thought I was not healing or not gaining momentum. Got that out, but I look back at the videos I took. I thought, wow, I have kind of improved more than, so, but I still, like you said, you still have those moments of stuttering and whatever. We go to dinner out. I can't. That's when I have an issue. I can't. The guy looks at me, so my wife knows. Just she knows
Yeah.
what I like, but I don't. At the now, I don't even care. I know who I am, and
Yeah. Like,
but
it used to embarrass me that I'm like, I don't want to
yeah,
have to sit down or leave early or like, and now I have flipped it to be like, people are so happy if they get to see you for just a couple minutes. So instead
yeah,
of looking at it like I'm like, and that was my big thing. Like, everybody used to see me like this way and now I can't be that way. And it's like, they're just happy you're alive. They just want to see you. Like, don't
yeah,
be so hard on yourself. And like,
yeah,
I will say it's so wonderful with so many of us sharing our stories, but I definitely notice, because even I do it, comparison is the thief of all joy. You are not seeing the whole picture, you're not seeing everything. And like, I promise you, even when you compare like to yourself sometimes, the
yeah,
second brain surgery, I was like, oh, great, I'm starting all over. And I'm like, no, you're not. I've really tried to look at my healing is no longer linear. It is tree branches, and we are growing in totally different ways all the time.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Ah, you, yeah. You Stevens boyfriend was a
Boyfriend
fool.
was a
Yeah,
fool. Yeah.
but
I
now
don't
look
work.
at you. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Happily
mean,
married, much better. It all works out. And I know at the time it does not feel like that. So I
yeah,
know right now, when you're like, when I was in the depth of it, me right now, I would be like, oh, I want to punch your positivity in the face right now. It's not like that. Like, that's
right,
how I felt so
absolutely,
much. And I started just, it's called reframing. I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it. If she can
yeah,
do it, I can do it. Like, I just started changing how I looked at things. And the gratitude is really important, because we we spend so much time looking at the things that we are working for, we want, instead of focusing on the things we do have. And I'm sure, like you said, there's points where I look back and I'm like, Tawnie, you couldn't even get up and out of the bed like
right,
without someone monitoring you, watching you, and you felt like you were about to like weeble wobble pass out. So
yeah.
you know.
Exactly. I mean, look how far you've come. And Lindora, thank you for saying that. I don't know if you
Thank
saw that.
it.
Thank you for the inspiration. I agree. I agree. Um, but wow. Anything last words you want to say or anything?
I know
You
I'm
know,
trying. It's knowing it's the journey,
yeah,
and it is all those cheesy things. And I know in the beginning, but that's why like I just kept listening to it and just knowing that, like we we survived for a reason. We're here for a reason. So enjoy your second round. Oh, you're so sweet. Oh my gosh. And that it's still so weird. It doesn't, maybe I can ask you, Jerry, how many times you read inspirational? I go, my first, I'm not inspiring enough. I'm not doing enough. Like like,
yeah.
and I think, and someone's
I
like,
do
still,
too.
I go, I don't know. And maybe I go, I think that's why, like, good people never think they're good enough. Like, the bad people don't ever think they're bad. So I think if you are a true giver, empath, advocate, you're just constantly like, I could do better. Like, I could do more. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, I used to say I'm not inspirational, and I don't do that anymore because mom's like, that's just stop doing that. Like,
yeah. I mean, I always say this. My wife says, and my
living.
daughters, and look what you've done. Even if you change one person, or you help one person, inspire one, then I feel like I did my job. Even though
Yeah.
we have hundreds and thousands of people out there in our world of aneurysms and stuff. There's a lot that we want to accomplish more and more. I love doing this. My thing was banking was it. I was making money. Things were killer. I loved it. And then a second later, like everything happens, and like God, my income went down the
Yeah.
toilet. I mean, it just changed. But I am more inspired doing this than my banking job. I love doing this. That's
It fuels
my
your heart and soul. Well,
yeah.
and that's why I go, I just think I changed my teaching instead of, teaching
Well,
kids. I go, now I teach adults and other survivors. So like that has been my passion, as I was like, I just, if I can gather some resource, I'm like, I'm not the smartest person, never going to claim that. I go, but I do like to look up a lot of stuff, and I'm great at gathering information. My neurodivergentness makes me very good at getting all that stuff together. So
Yeah.
if I can do
Well,
that,
yeah, I agree. And I appreciate so much that you had time to come and get on here and really share your inspiration and just everything you do in life that I know is really, I feel it. So
thank you.
what you do.
I feel what you do, and we appreciate you, like the community. I mean, Jerry, that's why I was just talking about you to somebody else. Like, you are just known in this community because you continue to give back and give people a space to share, to come on. And even if you don't want to be the person here talking, like you guys in the chat, like, it's just nice to have this community. Yeah, Jerry, you're very, very good at this.
Lindora, thank you. This is your calling. Yes, it is. But I appreciate it. Yeah, you and your calling. I watch you. You're Survivor with Maddie, and
5 years. Can you believe that? So me and Maddie are two young stroke survivors,
yeah,
and we've been going live together every
that long
Sunday.
now.
Yep. We
Wow.
started in 2020, so we're like, this year's 5 years.
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy how time flies. I mean, please come back. Yes.
Thank you. I will
Absolutely.
definitely do an update. There'll be more once I have. Look at me. I got to do more things to update you. Tawnie, we do have a brain buddy thing that we've started now, so there are a lot more just support and different things. So please contact me if you have any questions, or just, I am a silly mermaid. I did say that it's also my stroke support siren is my more PG-13 page. So if you are maybe one of my survivor friends who don't really like my plant-based advocacy, or you have kiddos, my stroke support siren on Instagram is that for you.
Yeah. Siren, if anybody got that. Yeah. Stroke support siren. Siren, like
the siren, the mermaid siren. Because I feel like the mermaid's nice, but you need sometimes to support people, you got to be a little bit of a siren and advocate for them and make sure they're protected.
It's funny you say that. I don't want to take much more time, but do you get like because when I hear a siren, or like I see the ambulance go by, that kind of gets me still. I mean, it's getting better.
I've really been working on that. I didn't realize, because most of the time I go to the hospital, it's still always for me. But recently my husband's had to have knee surgery and stuff. I didn't realize how even just me picking him up for the things triggers me. So like even just being in hospitals still and I've noticed that in the helicopters, because I got life flighted, I'm really trying to make things not like, the ambulance, any of those things, I'm still chest up in my throat.
Yeah, I get that too. So, but not as bad. It's getting better, but still, it's one of those things. I went to the hospital yesterday. Well, my mother, she has severe dementia, and she had this big growth on her arm. I don't know why I'm going to here, but and it was cancer. So she had it removed, and she just this could be a whole nother show about that. I don't know where I'm going with this thing, but the hospital. But I went there with her, and it was, I mean, my heart, I could feel it palpitation just because of the hospital,
Right.
So,
like, I know the nurse was like, you can wait for him here in the waiting room. I'm like, I'm going to go wait in the car. Like, I don't want to be in this place, like, at all. You can call me when he's ready to pick up.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, not funny, but I understand.
It
Totally.
is. No, and we have to joke about it. I mean, that's how you get through it. And I think that's what needs to be shared more, is people. It's like, we're still nervous as we're doing it, but we laugh about it and then we talk about it and we get through it. So like it still happens. And I think when I started learning that and healing, like I was like, oh, I can't wait till the point where like I'm not in pain ever. And I'm like, oh, I would love that. That's so crazy that there's some people who walk around literally with none of those things. Like I didn't realize, my doctor's like, what's your pain at? And I was like, I don't know, like normal, like 5. She was like, 5? She's like, that's not normal. It should be a 0. I go, I don't know the last time my pain was at a 0. Like, like pre-stroke, there's always something. There's some sort of ting. There's some sort of something. But I've just learned how to move through it.
Yeah, that's it. I totally understand. It's funny. I know.
I appreciate you. Sorry, I know I ramble. You probably have to go.
Me too. I'm trying not to. I talk too fast. I'm trying to slow down. That's what my speech therapist said. And it's, have you ever recorded yourself? because I did that. She recorded me. I'm thinking, wow, I sound like a heel. I mean, not good.
Yeah, I know for how much I talk online and when I rehear myself, I just thank all of you guys for listening because it's a lot.
Yeah, it is, and I appreciate you guys here commenting, watching,
I hate hospitals.
and appreciate all the newbies here.
Yes,
Thank you, appreciate it. Tawnie,
thank
we'll
you.
definitely do this again if you,
Absolutely. Yes, I
yeah,
would love to update and just be
yeah.
on here and chat with you. You bring up different things and I appreciate you very much, Jerry.
I appreciate you too, and I always watch you if you, um, yes, I'm your Maddie and you, and then I also the other one I saw that one.
Me and Tracy, yeah. So
Yeah.
later today, we're back to Tuesdays. Tracy's another
Oh,
stroke survivor, but fitness. And then she actually just had a mastectomy, caught her breast cancer at stage 0. So
oh
she's a,
wow, that's a
yeah,
good
super,
thing.
right?
Wow,
And so I
never
just
heard.
talk about it because she's also a young female. So just advocating for yourself. Her doctor was like, why don't we wait and see how it goes? And she goes, I don't want to wait and see. I'm going to go, went to another doctor and they're like, yeah, let's do surgery. So she's doing
Wow.
great. She's cancer free, but
Oh, nice.
so we're very active on Instagram. We're starting to do it so it can be on all the platforms. Thanks to Jerry teaching us with Restream and just, paving the way and helping us because,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I always, I did say it earlier. If you can inspire one person and help somebody,
the
that's a
ripple.
great thing. Yeah, exactly. Tawnie,
There's enough hate out there. So I'm like, if we can just be
I
sending some
know.
love, like the world needs more of it. So
Boy,
everyone's
that 100% true. So always great seeing you. This is great. I mean, it's been a little while, watch you all the time. So, but
I know it's like I watch you, but I know I haven't talked to you. But it's like I feel like
I know I put my little cat in there once in a while on you both when you're doing your Instagram lives. Um,
we love seeing you
yeah.
both.
So thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll see you later.
Well,